navigating a Kundalini Awakening with ease and grace. And I got a secret for you at the end of this video. Michael here, and I help you get rich without money by tapping into your eternal wealth. Here we go. Kundalini Awakening. What is it? What's going on with it? And is it happening to you? So Kundalini Awakening happens to many people on the planet these days because of the ascension process that all the humans are going through, right? Humanity in itself is going through an ascension process. So naturally, the Kundalini within our bodies is going to start to awaken. Before, it used to take a lot of work, and it used to take a lot of dedication to awaken the Kundalini inside of us. And the esoteric scriptures talked about some of the old gurus or some of the old masters. They could actually activate people's Kundalini just by touch. Some people would spend their entire life working on activating their Kundalini, and pretty much now, because of the speeding up of everything happening, not even on this planet, but really in the entire universe, if you can really feel that in here when I say that, if it resonates with you, then you understand what I'm saying. But the Kundalini is starting to activate across everyone. This is why the awakening is starting to happen on the planet. And some people are having trouble dealing with some of the symptoms. So in another video, I talk about what the symptoms are, but real quick, the 3 symptoms that I faced very greatly when I was going through when my Kundalini really hit me was a weird pulsing back pain right around the sacrum area. It can actually pulsate, and it's a dull ache. And we can see chiropractor after chiropractor, and it doesn't really go away. And some people can move to medications to try to help it. But really what it is there's an energy locked away in your lower chakra systems that is waiting to travel up your spine. So the second symptom that a lot of us deal with is overall anxiousness and anxiety, because once again, this energy is trying to break free inside of us, and it makes us feel quite uncomfortable sometimes. It can really drive us into a place of like, there's something wrong in me. My mind's racing. I'm having all these thoughts. You know, I'm kind of a spiritual person. I'm not grounded. And it can really cause us to feel very, very alone and kind of out of alignment. And the third thing that one of the symptoms that I really noticed that I myself went through is that my sleep schedule was completely off and whacked out. I mean, I would go to bed at like 2 in the morning, I'd wake up at 5, I would go to bed at 10, I'd sleep into 9. And you know, the world really puts a lot of pressure on us to wake up early all the time, right? You know, all these mastery videos online, you know, getting up at 4:30 a.m., getting up at 4 o'clock a.m. to do all this stuff. Hey, that's very, very good for us to do, to get into that practice. But when we're going through this ascension process and our Kundalini really starts to wake up, our body needs rest. Our body needs to rest. So it's very important that we speak to ourselves and we tell ourselves, okay, I'm in a process right now. No matter how hard I try, I just can't get up at 4:30 in the morning. I just can't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do all these things that I want to do. Shift our focus into realizing that it's okay and that my body is going through a process. So now that we're having all these symptoms, what exactly do we do? How do we navigate this Kundalini awakening with ease and grace into the modern world? Because first of all, if we were living in a monastery or an ashram where all day we could just focus on this energy, it wouldn't be too much of an issue. But we're living in the modern world. We're living in the time of jobs and kids and electronics and cities and social media and all this stuff, and yet we're still going through this process. So, one thing that tremendously helped me was keeping my spine loose at all times. And what I mean by that is I got rid of all my furniture. I know it sounds extreme, but just hear me out. I got rid of all my furniture. I stopped sitting on couches. I stopped sitting on chairs, and I moved to the floor. The more that our spine is erect, the more that our head is in alignment all the way down to our coccyx, that L1 to L5 area is also straight, and the Kundalini is dormant in and behind our sacrum. Okay, and that's where that energy is waiting like a coiled snake to spring up out of our body and make its way back up to our pineal gland. And there's a lot of research you can do about this in the esoteric scriptures. And if you look at the doctor symbol of the two snakes going up the pole, right? And our chakras are also are part of that too. What this means is our masculine and feminine energy is working our way back up to our pineal gland, and then it can actually work our way back down. So it creates a loop within us. But most of us, due to our lifestyle, we're trapped in our lower nature. And that's what the Kundalini rising really is we start to live in these upper chakra centers, these upper energy centers, and we kind of transcend and ascend into a much higher self, a higher way of being. So it's very important that our spine it turns into like a practice. I had a friend of mine say one time, he's like, you got to be samurai, at all times. And samurai means like aware of what we're doing. So whenever you sit or whenever you do something, be upright. Right now I'm sitting on one of those ball chairs because I don't like to sit on normal chairs anymore. And even in the car, get something for your spine. Take care of your spine. It's your bridge in this Kundalini process, and you don't want that energy being trapped down there. Now, second thing that will greatly help you navigate with ease this Kundalini awakening or even some of the ascension symptoms that you may be feeling. Okay, and this one might come a little bit like, what? But I want you to just hear me out, is refrain from having sex for a little period of time. Because sex flips our energies inside of us all over the place, right? And when we're open and we're in this state of change and ascension, we really want to like fortify our aura and fortify ourselves and kind of see who we are. We really have to understand who we are during this time. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to grab reign of this energy that is ascending within us and control it and use it for the way that we're supposed to. Many people, they're scared of themselves. We're scared of our own energy, and it's all waking up right now across the planet. And when we have intercourse with someone and we have all these emotions flipping all around, we can really, really lose ourselves in our mind, because what starts to happen is we take on a lot of the other person's stuff. And I'm going to have a lot more content on what sex is during an ascension process and how to use it and everything that I learned during this. But personally, about me, I went totally celibate for almost like 2 years. And I have a partner, and she was totally cool with it because she was going through the same thing. And we decided to just step back away from that for a while and focus on getting ourselves in alignment with this ascension process. And I'm telling you, when you stop expelling your energy, because sex is a lot of energy. I mean, it's the act of creation. It's a lot of energy, especially for the man, letting a seed out of his body. And that's a whole other thing too. But what I'm saying is just refrain from sex. And if you can't do it for a period of time, just dial it back a little bit. And you'll see what I mean. And if you're serious about this process, because for me, what happened in my life, I dedicated my life to this process. I said nothing else matters right now except getting myself into alignment and in control and getting this energy workable within my body so I actually understand what the heck is going on. Okay, so we have the spine straight and we have the sex. Okay, now the third thing is the diet. Now, I'm not here to tell you how to eat. All I'm here to say is to question what you're putting in your body. Because when this energy starts to awaken within us, okay, we want to move out of these lower chakra systems. And when we eat dense food, it's going to keep us down here. Why? 80% of the body's energy is spent on digestion. So it's going to be down here. If we want to come up here, we have to eat less foods, maybe do some intermittent fasting, fast once a week on juices. Once again, this video is not here to tell you how to eat, but these three things are very powerful concepts, among others, that will help you in this ascension process, okay? So when my Kundalini first hit me, it was the most uncomfortable, confusing time of my life. I went through 3 days, when it came onto me full tilt, I went through 3 days of complete and utter chaos in my mind. And I mean, it was painful at times when I was working that energy and I would do yoga. It actually pushed me into yoga asanas without even, I mean, my body was moving without me even wanting to move. And I was bending in like the deepest yoga positions possible, like back and forth, back bend, like bending all the way down, touching my toes, pushing myself all the way into a back bend. And it would like tell me where to go, and I would like stretch my spine and move it all the way out, and it would like, I would feel it like move up, and I would work it all the way out. It took me, the first time it hit me was at midnight, right before my meditation before bed, and it lasted for like 4 hours. And I couldn't stop moving. I was breathing deep, and I was so exhausted when that first time came to me that the whole next day, I just was like, I saw a ghost. I was like a deer in headlights. I'm like, what just happened to me? And luckily, I was a yoga practitioner, and I actually knew how to work with energy a little bit. I've been doing yoga for years. I do Ashtanga yoga, and I was able to use these asanas and these breathing, the pranayama that I know, and working with my body to control this energy within me, because I literally thought I was just going to explode. It happened to me 3 nights in a row. Every night when I did my meditation before bed, it was like, boom. The first night was like the most intense thing ever. The second night was a little bit less. The third night was a little bit less. And I was just getting downloaded and like uploaded and getting tossed around the universe all in the same kind of time. So what I'm saying is learn to work with your energy, and the things that I'm telling you, I learned after this fact, and I learned through trial and error of changing my life around to allow this ascension process, this Kundalini awakening to fruit in my life. Instead of me fight it and force it and not really know what to do with it, I surrendered to it and allowed it to just take way. So I have a lot more videos that are coming on this topic, but I wanted to at least share to you the 3 ways to navigate and to deal with this Kundalini awakening, because a lot of people I talk to, or a lot of people I deal with, because I'm a life coach, they go through these processes and it can be confusing. And I was so confused. I felt like I was the only one in my life going through this. The only one really knew what I was going through is my partner. I didn't talk about this to anybody else. You know, I would go on YouTube and I would look it up. I found some people I could relate to, but really it was me just like going through it. And I just want to help anybody out that's going through the same process, that will help you kind of, instead of doing this, it's kind of like this. Turn it into a wave, right, that we can ride, instead of just like getting tossed around by this. Because after those 3 days, I would spontaneously get this Kundalini hit, and I would feel it because it would sit me up in my spine when I was meditating, and I'd be like, oh, here it comes. And I felt the energy moving in my body, after some time, I learned to deal with it and control it. And another thing is, you're in full control of it. That is the best thing that I can say to you, is that you are in full control of it. Sometimes it feels like you're completely out of control, but you're not. When you learn to work with it, it will actually start to listen to you, because you start to connect with the energy centers of your body. So it's not necessarily that you're like, it's like the bridge is starting to be cleared away. So I hope it just sends you so much love, encouragement, and just some advice on my journey that has helped in this process. And I'm going to make a lot more content on this subject, because it was a huge part of my life. It was a huge experience of my life. And I want you all to go through the same thing. Peace, love, and let the river of life flow through you.